the book of 2nd Esdras chapter 15 and verse 16 in the GNT, there will be great political turmoil, with one group trying to overpower another and gain control, while ignoring the legitimate government. There will no longer be free access to cities because the struggle for power will bring destruction, terror, and total confusion wherever people live. Driven by famine and terrible suffering, people will assault their neighbors and maliciously plunder their possessions. And that's 2nd Esdras chapter 15, verse 15 through 19. All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Hawashai, Wahara Kakodash. The honors to the elders and the apostles of the great millstone. Shalom to the hopeful elect, seeking to be the elect of the nation of Israel. They're scattered abroad amongst the heathen. Some look like the heathen. They give it the 144,000 preachers, teachers, and prophets. Shalom. Yeah, man, got this video right here and another video as well. It says the wolf is at the door. Hayes warns Trump is building a police state. Well, no, it's already built. It's here. Okay? So what we just read in 2nd Esdras 15, 15 down to 19, is going into a police state. And what's causing the police state to form, or the reason why the police state is out. Okay? Going into how it said that there will no longer be free access to cities because of these reasons. And when you get that, and that joint hit hard too in the GNT. That was my first time ever reading 2nd Esdras 15 in the GNT. Let's get to KJV. 2nd Esdras 15 and 15. For the sword of their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard the kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. And man shall desire to go into a city, and shall not be able. You see? Control movement. And you would assume there's not going to be free access to cities because of what? For because of the pride, the city shall be troubled, the house shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. The chaos, the terror. And man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy the house with the sword, spoil their goods because of the lack of bread for great tribulation. So you see, hey, because of political unrest, political turmoil, all of this, man. And we'll wait till all these things play out. It's going to lead to what? A police. Well, we already in the police state. They're showing us this is what's playing out, and this is what's going to continue to happen, and this is what's going to eventually be in all 50 states. All right. Okay. Authoritarian government, dictatorship, whatever term you want to use. All right. It says, excuse me. My fault, y'all. This is the first video for today, man. So, excuse me. I apologize for that. You know, we try to stay on it by what the Holy Spirit. Been outside chopping wood all day. You know, handling some business for family member, man, from my pops, man, trying to help him out. You know, get himself situated. Hopefully, you know, he stay in the position he in. You know, and anyway, yeah, you know, trying to get ready for this. We're preparing for this storm. This shit. This snowstorm. Talk like it's gonna hit tomorrow. Says to be hurricane, category 2 hurricane type winds. Okay, with snow. And you know it's been freezing since last week, all day, every day since last week. All right, even this upcoming week. So you know, try to get this wood, chop everything situated, man. So you know, have some nice good old heat in case the power go out. But police state. So you know, excuse the sniffles. It says AI overview. A police state is a government that exercises arbitrary, extreme control over civil society. You see that? And this is what we're witnessing with these ICE agents, man. These troops. All right. It says, and the reasons, and we read the reasons why they're out, and we're seeing it play out because of political turmoil. You know, people tired. You know, I mean, you name it, man. And more's to come. Hey, because of hardships. Hey, soon it's gonna be because of lack of bread. All right, and things are gonna be even harder. And we did a lesson the other day about where the Holy Spirit going to dumpster diving. Excuse me. And how that's going to get worse. All right. It says often through secret police and surveillance to suppress dissent and maintain power. It is characterized by the suspension of democratic processes, restricted liberties, and the use of violence to enforce obedience. You see, the use of violence to enforce obedience. Aren't we saying that? I shoot people. They're snatching people up all willy nilly. Now that they don't need a warrant to go into your house. Hey, reports coming out, which we've been telling y'all, but now they're bringing it out that hey, they graping women. You know, they're snatching women up and graping them. You know, these some damn sick freaks, man. Goddamn Edomites, man. Hey, you got Jake, Northern Kingdom and Southern Kingdom part of ICE too, and the other heathen. You know, them niggas came in through the border, I believe. Oh, freaky ass niggas, man. But it's the judgment of Yahweh Shema Shai. Hey, they snatching up 5-year-olds, going to daycares. Goddamn freaks, man. It says, yeah. Common examples include authoritarian or totalitarian regimes like Nazi Germany or historically Ethiopia under the Derg. Function. The primary goal is maintaining the regime's power, suppressing suppressing opposition and controlling the population through intimidation and surveillance. Hey, that's what ICE is doing. That's what these National Guard troops are doing, man. Intimidation. All right. It says suppressing opposition. Hey, that's the people, man. The people are the ops. So, hey, it's two sides. All right. You got Trump's goons, which is ICE, and the opposition would be the people, the citizens. All right. Primarily as Israelites, but all citizens as a whole, if you go against them. And controlling the population through intimidation and surveillance, you see? They lurking, man. They're everywhere. Hey, you will not have free access to cities. Hey, you should want to go into a city and shall not be able. All right? Now let's go ahead and get it. One of my favorites. You got to get it. The Lamentation 4, man. Lamentation. Chapter 4. And 18, let's read it in the NLT. We couldn't go into the streets without danger to our lives. Our end is near. Our days were numbered. We were doomed. Our enemies were swifter than eagles in flight. If we fled to the mountains, they found us. If we hid in the wilderness, they were waiting for us there. Right? Just like that's what the Babylonians did back then, man. All right? They're doing the same thing now. Modern day Babylon, Babylon the Great, this flood, these freaky troops, man. Yeah, you know, we did a report, was it earlier this morning, late last night, about what the Holy Spirit. Hey, you got Uber Ice. I call it Uber Ice. Goddamn Ice signing up for Uber and Lyft drivers, snatching niggas up. Hey, just that police state, man. It says characteristics, high levels of censorship, propaganda, lack of, and the censorship going to the family of the word, man. Hey, what you can and can't say. You know, hey, through TikTok, hey, they taking over TikTok, you know. They send some videos more and more. Soon they're gonna cut it all off. All right, if you're speaking against them and what's going on, they're about to start cutting down channels, man, and they're about to start labeling people as enemies, man, enemies of the state. High levels of censorship, propaganda, lack of judicial independence, and an empowered, often secret police force, and that's ICE. Examples: Nazi Germany, Gestapo, Ethiopia, the Derg debate. The term is sometimes used in political discourse to describe overreach in democratic nations, such as allegations of excessive surveillance or brutal police brutality. These regimes, often totalitarian, destroy civil society by eliminating free speech, assembly, and due process, placing them with state-sanctioned violence. You see that? What is living in a police state? A nation whose rulers maintain order and obedience by the threat of police or military force, one with a brutal, arbitrary government. You see? Let me see. What is the role of the fear in a police state? It says, what is the role of fear in a police state? Heightened fear may contribute to more aggressive policing, or it may lead to officers to disengage from situations that risk causing them harm. Well, you get the point, man. You get the point. We already here. All right? We already here. The wolf is at the door. Hayes warns Trump is building a police state. The troops are already here, man. All right. So I'm going to just let this video play. The American police state. Hey, everybody said America will never be like this. America will never see hardship. Well, hey, we here. Not my America. Yeah, your America. It's the same damn America. Finish. Matter of fact, second address. We at the time of the end, baby. This joint over with. Second address 901. He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou well understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world in which he made. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. For like as all that is made in the world has a beginning and the end is manifest, the end is revealed, the end is here, it is happening. Alright? Even so, the times also of the highest have plain beginnings of wonder and powerful works and endings and effects and signs. Should we play the other one first? Hold on, let's see which one we should play first. I think that was like 4 minutes. Going to the protest. Yeah, let's get the 4-minute joint first. Then we get the police state. You know what? We're going to get this one first because it's going to roll right into it. It's going to roll right into it.
Good evening from New York. I'm Chris Hayes. Tens of thousands of people marched across the country today in Minneapolis, Los Angeles, New York, Chicago, Cleveland. Many of them braving sub-zero temperatures to protest the police state that Donald Trump is attempting to build before our eyes. A police state uses its power to crush dissent, to terrorize the populace, to force them to submit to its political will. It is a perversion of the policing power. And for the past year, we have watched the federal government, particularly the law enforcement aspects of it, transform under Trump. As armed federal agents push into communities into accepting his wins or suffering the consequences. We have now masked secret police who have shot two nonviolent protesters dead in the streets while people recorded on their camera phones, Renee Good and Alex Preddy. We still don't even know the identities of some of those agents who work for the government who shot and killed them. Instead today, we got the President of the United States calling the man who was shot and killed on the street a, quote, agitator and perhaps insurrectionist. MS Now is now reporting that ICE is planning to move into Ohio next week to target thousands of Haitian migrants, thousands of whom received explicit permission from the government to stay and to work. So this is not stopping. Those masked agents are still grabbing citizens, taking their pictures and entering them into a database, then confronting them on the streets and calling them by their name. Today, multiple current and former officials revealed to the New York Times that ICE is using two facial recognition programs in Minnesota and using cell phone and social media tools to monitor people's online activity and potentially hack into phones. And agents are tapping into a database built by the data analytics company Palantir that combines government and commercial data to identify real-time locations for individuals they are pursuing.
No one can afford to live in a dirtier world.
Pursuing. Today, they topped it all off by coming for the journalists. Feds arrested 4 people, including former CNN anchor Don Lemon and an award-winning independent journalist, Georgia Fort, in connection with an anti-ICE protest earlier this month that interrupted a service at a church where one of the pastors is also an ICE field director. In fact, reporter Georgia Fort was awoken in the dead of night by a knock on her door from masked DEA agents, the Drug Enforcement Agency. Why are they there? As they waited at her doorstop and looked in her windows, she posted this message to social media.
I wanted to alert the public that agents are at my door right now. This is all stemming from the fact that I filmed a protest as a member of the media. It's hard to understand how we have a constitution, constitutional rights, when you can just be arrested for being a member of the press. We've seen all these violations. All right, you guys, I got to go. They're knocking.
Yep, she's coming right now.
A little context here. Last year, the former Speaker of the State House of Minnesota was shot and killed, assassinated by a man who showed up at her door pretending to be law enforcement. So just put that in your head. So then Fort, the vice president of the National Association of Black Journalists in Minnesota, who was one of 2 reporters in the courtroom when George Floyd's killer was sentenced, was taken away in the cold by those same masked, kitted out DEA agents. The feds are claiming that Don Lemon and Fort were agitators of the church protest who conspired to, quote, injure, oppress, threaten, and intimidate multiple persons, including the clergy, staff, and congregants, depriving them of their constitutional right to free religion. I'm not making that up. That is the claim here. But as you can see for yourself, and we've been doing a lot of see for yourself recently because of the lies that emanate from this administration, here's footage of Don Lemon in that church during that protest.
We're not part of the activists, but we're here just reporting on them. So I'm just going to be as respectful as possible. I'm not here to intimidate anybody. Just here to chronicle and to get some answers.
Since that protest nearly 2 weeks ago, Donald Trump's Department of Justice has been trying to charge Lemon. In fact, last week, a federal magistrate judge and an appeals court rejected the charges as baseless. I mean, again, we said this a lot on this show. This basically never happens, right? Federal magistrate judges never knock the feds back on this sort of thing. And then they're never, ever appealed. And then it's certainly not the case that appellate court rejects it. But Lemon predicted back then that they weren't finished with them.
I know the Trump administration doesn't have a healthy respect for journalism or journalists because they attack journalists at every measure. And they do that because they know the truth is not on their side. The Constitution is not on their side. Donald Trump lies more than he breathes. This is not a victory lap for me because it's not over. They're going to try again, and they're going to try again. And guess what? Here I am. Keep trying. That's not going to stop me from being a journalist. You're not going to diminish my voice.
This morning, they arrested Lemon in Los Angeles as he prepared to cover the Grammy Awards. All the defendants were arraigned in court today. Afterwards, Georgia Fort emerged from the courthouse and was thronged by supporters, and Lemon struck a defiant tone.
I have spent my entire career covering the news. I will not stop now. In fact, there is no more important time than right now this very moment for a free and independent media that shines a light on the truth and holds those in power accountable.
Donald Trump sending government forces after critics, opponents, even those who are completely nonpartisan, but he views as insufficiently obedient, across a whole array of institutions. Today, Trump announced a politically connected replacement for the Fed chair, Jerome Powell, even though Powell's term runs for another 5 months. And also, he is, remember, still being criminally investigated by Trump's DOJ. Then, of course, there was Wednesday's FBI raid of the Fulton County Election Office in Georgia, where they took boxes and boxes and boxes of ballots. That, of course, office and that county and that state, the boogeyman of Trump's 2020 election lies. Feds hauling 700 boxes full of voter ballots. In an operation apparently overseen by Tulsi Gabbard, the director of national intelligence, who has no law enforcement powers, but who is apparently using her access to become a leading MAGA election truther with the full force of the federal government behind her. Again, all this is law enforcement. Law enforcement. Coming from an administration that has no qualms about breaking the law when it comes to just about anything, including releasing the Epstein files. Today, 42 days after they were legally required to release all the files, they decided to get around to it. Deputy Attorney Todd Blanche, Attorney General Todd Blanche, Trump defense attorney who still views the president as his client, according to officials he's worked with, announced the dump of 3 million new Epstein documents. Now, Todd Blanche is the same guy, remember, last year who kicked off the whole controversy when he wrote the memo saying, we've looked at every single file and we've concluded there's nothing further to see here. There's no client list. No one else is implicated. We're shutting it all down. That Todd Blanche, the one who signed his name to that document saying we have already looked at it all, announced they got around, I guess, to looking at the documents. He said the delays were to protect the victims. They weren't protecting Trump. And now their job here is done.
Today's release marks the end of a very comprehensive document identification and review process. After submitting the final report to Congress as required under the Act and publishing the written justifications for redactions in the Federal Register, the Department's obligations under the Act will be completed.
This is now the second time that Todd Blanche has told us there's nothing more to see here. We're going to have a lot more on what we are learning from those files later in the show, and there are some pretty shocking things in them. Blanche also said there was an investigation opened into Alex Preddy's death, though he suggested it wasn't a civil rights probe, and he declined to give any details. He also defended the raid of that election office in Georgia and Tulsi Gabbard's role in it. And he ignored a question about the numerous federal prosecutors in Minneapolis who've resigned in protest, particularly ones who appear to have resigned because Blanche's office told them to open a criminal investigation not into the person that shot Renee Good, but into the dead woman Renee Good after a federal agent shot and killed her. The point here is that federal law enforcement increasingly, day by day, acts at the directions and the whims of the man in the White House who aspires to be a dictator. And in the last few weeks, they have shot and killed 2 citizens who stood in their way. The wolf is at the door, America.
If you're shopping for a home, Realtor.com's Real View Maps show you precise.
Breaking news, major protests across the U.S. playing out at this hour. Demonstrations against ICE and against President Trump's immigration crackdown. The images coming in, tens of thousands of people in the streets of Minneapolis braving the brutal cold, part of a nationwide protest. Tonight, similar scenes playing out from Los Angeles to Raleigh to New York. It comes as federal agents arrest former CNN anchor and now independent journalist Don Lemon. Lemon was inside a church in St. Paul. He was reporting when protesters interrupted that church service, upset over a pastor's job with ICE. Authorities also arresting independent journalist Georgia Ford. She captured the moment when a masked agent can be seen in the window of her home, showing up looking for her. That former CNN anchor Don Lemon in court just moments ago, and ABC's Matt Rivers leads us off with the breaking news now from Minneapolis tonight.
Tonight, massive protests in Minneapolis. Tens of thousands marching through the streets of downtown. People are out here taking to the streets, braving the bitter cold with a clear message. They don't approve of the ICE crackdown in their community. Students walking out of class, some businesses closing in solidarity. Part of nationwide so-called ICE out protests.
Our streets!
A sea of protesters from Minneapolis to Los Angeles to San Francisco and New York City. With tensions soaring, tonight the Justice Department now launching a federal investigation into the killing of ICU nurse Alex Preddy. The Deputy Attorney General acknowledging that includes a civil rights investigation.
We're looking at everything that would shed light on what happened that day and in the days and weeks leading up to what happened.
Pardon me, sir. Sorry about that.
And tonight, federal agents arresting former CNN anchor and now independent journalist Don Lemon and 3 more people in connection with this church protest in St. Paul, Minnesota. Anti-ICE protesters disrupting Sunday service nearly 2 weeks ago, where one of the pastors is also the director of an ICE field office. Lemon was inside covering that protest, interviewing church members.
I'm not part of the group. I'm just here photographing. I'm a journalist.
Sources telling ABC News Lemon was arrested at a Beverly Hills hotel overnight, where he was covering the Grammy Awards. Authorities also arresting independent journalist Georgia Ford.
Agents are at my door right now.
She captured video showing masked agents peering through her front window.
We have
The journalist live streaming as she was taken into custody.
when you can just be arrested for being a member of the press. We've seen all these violations. All right, you guys, I gotta go. They're knocking.
Late today, Fort was released from custody. Attorney General Pam Bondi saying the arrests happened at her direction, calling this in a social media post a, quote, coordinated attack at that church.
You have the right to worship freely and safely. And if I haven't been clear already, if you violate that sacred right, we are coming after you.
Lemon's legal team firing back, calling it an unprecedented attack on the First Amendment. A federal judge had previously rejected the DOJ's attempt to charge Lemon, finding no evidence of criminal behavior. And just moments ago, Lemon making his first court appearance in Los Angeles. The indictment just unsealed, alleging Lemon and others went into the church and occupied space, physically obstructing those inside. The judge ordering Lemon be released. Lemon addressing reporters outside court.
I have spent my entire career covering the news. I will not stop now. And I will not be silent. I look forward to my day in court.
Back here in Minneapolis tonight, tens of thousands taking to the streets, demanding change. Are you hopeful things are going to change? Are you skeptical?
I'm hopeful and skeptical. I'm hopeful they'll change, but after listening to Trump this morning saying, no, they're not backing down, who do you believe? Holman or him? I don't know.
And David, it was just 24 hours ago that U.S. Border Czar Tom Homan suggested that a drawdown in federal agents was coming. But overnight, President Trump, talking about this issue, asked if the federal operation was pulling back. He said no, not at all. David?
Matt Rivers leading us off tonight from Minneapolis. Matt, thank you.
There you have it. I think that's it. We can see what else we got later on. And Lord willing, we'll hit you lay it down by what the Holy Spirit. Stay pretty, put how about Shalom.